Individualized Education Program. 4 tools serve to coordinate and document the individualized education provided to students with disabilities. The tools that guarantee an appropriate education to those with disabilities are transition services, behavioral intervention plans, individualized family service plans, and individualized education programs. Transition services is a component of the IEPs for students older than 16 to assist students moving to adulthood. Behavioral intervention plans are functional assessments and procedures to prevent and intervene for behavioral infractions. The IFSPs are for infants and toddlers with disabilities, as well as the families of these children. The place for the services are their homes, daycare centers, or clinics. IFSPs are mostly free. However, some services are paid for by the families themselves. An Individualized Education Program, or IEP, are documents designed to ensure that students with disabilities who are aged 3 to 21 receive special education and related service appropriate to their needs. It is deliberate, equitable, individualized, and guaranteed. An IEP is deliberate because it intentionally intervenes with a disabled student's education path. It is fair and reasonable. It is also unique. No two IEPs are alike. Each student receives a program that is designed specifically for their needs. Finally, an IEP is guaranteed. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 2004 guarantees all students with disabilities receive a public and free education. It also gives these students the availabilities of certain services, one of them being the IEPs. There are several steps to the IEP process. The first step is a pre-referral. This is a screening stage in which students' difficulties and challenges are documented and explained. The effectiveness of the classroom combinations and modifications are tested as well. The power of the various instructional interventions are assessed as well. The student's progress continues to be monitored. Step 2 is the actual referral. If the pre-referral interventions are unsuccessful, the student is then referred to the special education services. Referrals can come from parents, a social service agency, public health nurses, daycare professionals, or a doctor. Now, step 3 is identification. The purpose of this step is to determine whether a student has a disability. This assessment is conducted by multidisciplinary teams made up of professionals who have expertise in each area of concern. The fourth step is eligibility. The information from the identification step is used to identify students who actually have a disability and qualify for special education services. For those students, the IEP committee then determines what components of the full range of special education-related services are needed so that the appropriate education can be planned for and ultimately delivered. Step 5 is the development of the IEP. This step requires that parents and the IEP team make decisions about appropriate education, services, and placement. The assessment results are used to help make these decisions. This is the point in time when the IEP team begins to outline the individualized education needs for the student involved. Goals are set in this stage. A constellation of services and supports become part of the student's appropriate education. Step 6 is the implementation of the IEP. The student's services and individualized programs begin in this stage. The final step is evaluation and reviews. This step is all about accountability. There is an IEP review meetings to ensure that the students are meeting their goals and making education progress. These assessments can be daily or weekly. The purpose of such measurement of progress is to guide instruction and be sure that intervention schedules are effectively working. 3 groups of people make up the team involved in the IEP process. The groups are the education professionals, such as principals, administrators, and teachers, the students themselves, and the families of the students. The education professionals coordinate and oversee the whole process. They monitor the progress of the student involved. The education professionals are also the ones in charge of the actual implementation of the services. Students need to have self-determination. Self-determination is the ability to identify and achieve their goals. Students also have to be self-advocacy. They need to be able to explain what is needed for them to achieve their goals. These two skills can only be achieved through communication. They have to communicate their needs so they can learn to the best of their ability. Families of the student involved have a role in the IEP process as well. First, they must question everything. This is the only way that families can fully understand the process. They also need to outline and define their child's strengths and weaknesses so the IEP team can construct the correct program for the student. In conclusion, the IEP process is a great tool to ensure students with disabilities reach their full potential. The evaluation is ongoing and continuous throughout the student's academic career. The student's progress is constantly monitored and assessed. The program also needs to be willing to change. Students' needs might change, so the IEP has to be flexible enough to adapt with it. All these make up the IEP process, which benefits students with disabilities.